Hi guys, welcome to this video. Now the purpose of today's video is to run through OT software. So we're going to run through how to get the software, how to correctly install it, how to go about using it, the purpose of using it for backtesting and for live trading. So let's just get straight into it. So the software is obviously found at my website, OTTrades.com. We're on the homepage here, just a rundown of the software here and what we're about at OTTrades. Check out my website, there's free educational content all over it. Everything on my website apart from the software is free, so trading ideas, educational videos, rundown on indicators and how to use them correctly. There should be little videos here and there on the main indicators, candlestick patterns, also the advanced patterns. So even if you don't want the software identifies advanced and harmonic patterns itself. But even if you don't want the software, you can manually identify these patterns. It won't be as objective, but you can manually identify these patterns using the ratios given for free on my website. So you can use this as a sort of home, or whatever you want to call it, a hub for all of the setups for these patterns. Are all on here for free. So do check that out. Or you do have to set up an account to view these, but all it is a email address and password just to log in and see these patterns. It's free. There's no card payments required, whatever, none of that stuff. Also free backtester, check that out. Free backtesting spreadsheet, so just download that as well. There's a separate video on that here. But that's not the purpose of today's video. The purpose of today's video is the OT software. So this software identifies, like I said, advanced and harmonic patterns. So the purpose of the software is to identify these mainly for backtesting purposes, and then once you've backtested each pattern or your own custom patterns, there's 3 custom patterns you can have on my software. So once you've backtested them, you can then apply them to your live trading. So to get started, come to OTTrades.com, go on to OTSoftware, buy the software, scroll down to the bottom here, send me a message with your name, email address so I can get back to you, and just the details of which software you've bought. I will obviously get notified that you've purchased the software, so I'll be able to link your message up with the initial purchase. I'll then send you the correlating package, depending on whatever you've bought, if that makes sense. I'll send you that because I need to link the software to your account, so basically stop you from sending it to your friends and selling it on and whatever. I need to link it to your account so only you can use it. I hope that makes sense. So I can't just let you buy it and send you to a download page and download it, because I do need to go in and code your account number into the actual code of the software. So press buy now, funds will be sent to me. I'll obviously get a notification, and then I can send you the package with your account number coded into the software. So I hope that makes sense. So once I send you the software, this is what you will receive. These 2 files here, OTSoftware and OTZigZag. There's just a small file. I'll install that now. And OTSoftware. So if you open up your MetaTrader, it should look like this, completely blank. See here, we're on the Euro Dollar 1 hour chart, completely blank chart, no indicators, no oscillators, no anything on the chart. Once you've got your software in wherever you've saved it, into your downloads, go into your MetaTrader, click on File, open Data folder, MQL4, and paste these 2 files, copy them, and paste them into the indicators file folder in your data folder for MetaTrader. Hope that makes sense. So once they're in there, I'd recommend closing MetaTrader down and then reopening it, or you can just go to here and refresh. That should then show them popping up in the indicators tab here. If you don't know how to get the indicators tab up, it's on the top here. Just click that navigator, click this navigate button here, and that will pop up. So once they're loaded into here, I'd start off with the OTZigZag, drag and drop, or just double click it, and this box will pop up. So zigzag threshold. I won't go into the in-depth details of what this means. Basically, the higher the number, the bigger the patterns you're going to print. Okay, so the lower the number, the more noise you're going to take into account. So before I do it, actually let's do it. So if I do it for 15, we'll just leave it at 1,000 bars. That's just how many bars back it's going to work up to. Obviously, if you do it from start to finish, so however many bars are completely loaded in your chart, you could go all the way back to the year 2000 if your broker loads that. The more number of bars you want to analyze, the more it's going to drain your computer, if that makes sense. So for backtesting, you obviously want to go back as far as possible, but for live trading, when you're going to have loads of charts open and what have you, you really want to be analyzing the bars that are on your page, so you can just leave it at a low number of bars. So just for the example, we'll do this at 5,000 and a zigzag threshold of 15. Remember what I said, the higher the number, the less noise you're going to take into account. So okay that. So this has inputted the zigzag. So these are going to form the swings of your patterns, okay? So whatever this zigzag shows are going to form the swings of your patterns. We haven't loaded the pattern software yet, that's OTSoftware. This is just an example. So 15, if you take this into account here, these swings here, these large swings, if I go back and make this a lower number, remember what I said, the higher the number, the less noise. So if I put a lower number in, it should start to take into account these little swings in here. So if I do 5, okay, and close that, it's taken into account these little swings, okay? So the lower the number, the more noise it takes into account. So these are forming your swings for each pattern. So if I go back in, I like 10 as a nice round number. Let's change this to 10. Because this correlates with your pattern recognition software. So whatever value you put into here, you need to put into your pattern recognition software. You don't have to have this running. You can just delete this if it gets in your way, if it annoys you, whatever. You don't have to have it running, but you do have to have the OTZigZag in your navigator or in your indicator file in the data folder in order to run the OT software. So you do need them both in the same indicator file, okay? So once that's hope that's clear anyway, OTZigZag, that's a simple file there. OTSoftware, now this is the core software that identifies all the patterns, okay? So enable Backtester, we'll put this as false for the time being, we'll run through that in a moment. Draw background, so once the patterns are printed, that will either color the patterns in or leave them, if you have it false, that'll leave them blank, so it'll just be the outlines of the patterns. So we'll leave that false for now. Zigzag threshold, that's what I just ran through with you there. So obviously, like I said, the higher the number, the more noise which is filtered out. So our zigzag is actually on 10 at the moment. So this is zigzag threshold of 10. So we'll have that matching up with it. If you change the zigzag threshold in the OT software to a higher number, but don't change it in the normal zigzag indicator, the normal zigzag indicator will stay at 10 or whatever you set it at, and the patterns will just print. If you put it as 20, for example, the patterns will print larger patterns, or if you put it as 5, it will include these little swings that we showed you just now. So it'll just look a bit strange because you'll have the line going straight through, but you'll have a pattern printed here, for example. I don't know if there actually will be, we'll find out in a minute. But it'll just look a bit strange, so I would recommend you keep them the same. So if it's 10 here, keep it 10 in the zigzag indicator as well. Again, that's not, those two not correlating won't affect the software printing the patterns, it'll just look strange. But you do need to have them both in the indicator folder, just to remind you that. Max bars, I think I set the zigzag at 5,000, so let's do the same here. 5,000, zigzag threshold is 10, which is the same as this. So again, max bars is just how many bars in the past it's going to print the patterns onto. Right, so now you've got each pattern. So we've got the harmonic patterns first. We've got back pattern, alternative back, Gartley harmonic pattern, butterfly harmonic pattern, crab, deep crab, the shark, and alternative shark. So starting with the back, this is the same for each pattern, so I'll just run through it for the back. So enable back false at the moment. We can change that to true, and it will print the back patterns on the chart. Buy color bat, so if we get a bat forming and it's telling us to buy, remember these patterns are reversal patterns conventionally, so if we have a D point printing on a downswing, that's going to expect a reversal, so we're looking to buy. So a buy color bat is going to be a light green, and a sell color bat when the D point forms at the top of a price swing, so we're looking to sell. It's going to form dark green. TP1, that means take profit 1 ratio bat. That's just 382 fib ratio of the A to D leg, 382, and TP2 ratio of the bat is 618 of the A to D leg. So that's just take profit 1 and take profit 2. And SL ratio back, that's the stop loss level. So 113 of XA is where the stop loss is going to be. So we can go back to my website, and it was the harmonic bat. We can just double check those ratios meet the conventional rules. Summary B point is valid so long as it falls between 382, 559, X to A leg. Sorry, harmonic back, 382 retracement of the AD leg, that's target 1, 618 retracement of the AD leg, that's target 2. And that is what we've set it up here, 382 of AD, 618 of AD, target 1 and target 2, 113 of XA is the stop loss, 113 extension of XA. So that's meeting the conventional rules for this pattern. That's the same for every other pattern. So we've got the alternative back harmonic. We leave that as false, leave all these at false at the moment. Again, you can change the color of the buy pattern or the sell pattern. 382, 618 targets and stop loss level. Gartley harmonic, butterfly harmonic, crab harmonic, deep crab, and shark. So we'll leave all these as false at the moment. Just I'll leave the bat as false as well. So I'll just run through the settings. So these are all the harmonic patterns, ending with the alternative shark. Then we start on the advanced patterns. So if you don't know the difference between the harmonic and advanced patterns, go back to my website. You can see the harmonic patterns. They end up there's slightly different rules for the B, C, and D point. The main difference is the D points form a potential reversal zone, or PRZ. So it's a correlation of 3 different Fibonacci ratios, whereas the advanced patterns, advanced bat is just a one, the D point forms at 1 point. Market forms D point by filling 886 XA. So it's advanced patterns you can think of being quite a bit simpler than the harmonic patterns. So advanced patterns are generally traded as reversal patterns by setting a limit order at the D point. So price comes down, hits D, and you just set a limit order at that point, and price reverses and ideally hits your targets. Whereas the harmonic patterns, you wait for price to enter the PRZ, potential reversal zone, and you wait whilst price is in this area, you wait for a reversal candlestick formation. Again, you can check these out here. You wait for a reversal candlestick formation before entering the market, so slightly more conservative than the advanced patterns, but again, slightly more complex to work out yourself. That's where the software comes into play, because it just prints them automatically. So leave all these as false. Again, the advanced settings, so again, it's just exactly the same as the harmonics. You can change the colors of the buy and sell patterns. Change the ratios of the profit targets. These are the conventional ones that have been set here by default. If you wanted them, you can change it to 0.5 or even 10% retracement. Leave them as the default settings at the moment, so the conventional profit targets and stop loss levels. But like I say, you can change them to whatever you want, and that will do that for you. Butterfly Advanced, Cipher Advanced, that's true at the moment, we'll turn that off as well. Gartley Advanced settings, again you can change all these, and then the custom advanced settings. I might run through this later, we'll run through this later. But basically, got all of the B ratio, C ratio, D ratio, take profit, and stop loss that you can edit there. So these are all the conventional setups and all the conventional patterns. Obviously the custom advanced settings, custom patterns, you can create your own patterns here. So you've got the option of custom pattern 1, custom pattern 2, or custom pattern 3. Panel drawing scale, so in a minute you'll see we've got a graphic user interface, GUI, pops up at the top here, so you can quickly select between the patterns. This is just the size of that, and this is to do with the backtester. I'll come to that later. So for now we'll just OK this. I haven't got any patterns turned on at the moment, and the backtester is turned off as well, so I'll just OK this, and you can see this has popped up now. Turn it off so we can scroll through. So no patterns are selected at the moment. This is the zigzag threshold of 10, and the patterns are set at this zigzag threshold as well. So if we start with the advanced patterns, I'll just load a butterfly up. So by clicking that, I've loaded the butterfly up at those conventional settings as well. You can see the D point form, it gives you the price of that D point as well as the ratio 1.272, the price of the stop loss in red, as well as the ratio 1618. Again, this is on my website. Because it's a butterfly pattern, it's slightly different for me. D point completion, stop loss. My personal preference is 1618 extension of XA. However, conventional stop loss levels are 1414. This is the only pattern I've done this for because I've tested it so many times. Butterfly is one of my favorite patterns. I tested it so many times and I just found that 1618 works so much better than 1414. So I've included it in the software. 1618, again, you can obviously change that if you want to, but I left that as the default. That's the only pattern I've changed slightly. All of the rest are exactly the same as the conventional settings that you find in all of the textbooks and everything on Advanced and Harmonic Patterns. So all the butterfly patterns are printed here. You can see the difference between a buy pattern, light green, and a sell pattern, dark green. That's in the indicator settings. You can change the colors for that. So yeah, they're printed out, and like I said, they're printed in accordance to this zigzag threshold of 10. Again here, zigzag threshold of 10. Obviously it projects the D point into the future, and this one didn't hit it. That's another thing about this software. There's no point having these patterns print out in a live market if it does not project this D point. You need the time between the C and D point to prepare to enter the market when these patterns complete. There's no point having it complete and then show up, because by then the pattern's done. It's too late to get in on the market, especially if we wanted to set limit orders at this level. If you want to wait for candlestick entries, then fine, but it means you're going to have to constantly, this is a 1 hour chart, so a bar is going to be forming every 1 hour. So every hour you're going to have to come back and look and see if your candlestick formation's done or not. Or if your pattern's completed or not. This projects the D point out into the future. As soon as that C point is valid, it will project the D point out into the future, allowing you between the C point and D point enough time to set up your entry, exits, whatever. So yeah, this printed the butterfly patterns throughout the history of the chart. Again, difference between the buy and sell here, so I can turn the butterfly off or on using this GUI here. Bat, I don't think there's many bats on this chart anyway, not a common pattern. Bat pattern there. I can turn the bat off and put Gartley on, Gartley pattern here, Gartley pattern here. You can see once the D point forms, it will project it down on that exact candlestick. This one obviously didn't form, so it just projected the D into the future. So that's the Gartley pattern, cipher pattern. Again, pretty self-explanatory. It's printing all the patterns onto the chart. Now, as you can see, these are the advanced patterns with that single D point formation rather than the PRZ. So if we were to change from the cipher advanced pattern here to say a shark, oh sorry, shark's only got one as well, butterfly advanced pattern to butterfly harmonic pattern, we've now got that PRZ form with the three, these little lines are the ratios where they're ending, with the three ratios forming that potential reversal zone. So this is going to be where you're looking for entry reasons, candlestick entry reasons. Let's get that exact. This area here. So between these two, so where these three ratios meet, is where you're looking for those candlestick entry reasons. That's the PRZ. So again, here they're going to vary because they're based on three different ratios, three different legs. One here, one here, one here. Sorry, over here, I'm just following the line across. So that's your PRZ here, between there and there. Again, up here, they're printed. Here, and the 382 and 618 targets are obviously in the green as well. And the stop loss in the red. Hope that makes sense. Same for Gartley's. PRZ printed those 3 points. That level is where you're looking for reversals. Crabs, crab patterns here. Looking for the reversals within this range. Hope that makes sense, guys. Deep crab, nice deep crab here. Between this range here, looking for the reversal up to the 382 and 618. Shark and alt sharks, I do like sharks and butterflies are my favorite patterns, I think. Sharks, so yeah, you're looking at the reversal at the D point here, so sharks and alt sharks only have 1 point rather than the PRZ. Similar to a cipher pattern. I don't know if that would have been a cipher as well. No. And then the reversal to the 382 and 618. Again, the difference between the buy shark and the sell shark in different colors, dark blue and light blue. Nice reversal here off of this shark. So yeah, so you get the point of that. Now the chart unlocked or locked. So obviously we're on the 1 hour time frame now. So if I were to change down to the 30-minute, it automatically recalculates that zigzag of 10. So it prints new zigzag 10 lines on the 30-minute chart, and therefore the correlating new patterns on this chart. However, if I go back to the 1 hour, wait for this to load. Back to the 1 hour, so it's printed this pattern here. If I then lock the chart locked, so I've pressed that button down, chart locked, goes red. Wait for it to load again. Chart locked goes red, and then go down to the 30-minute. It's left that pattern on, so you can see the zigzag lines no longer correlate. Hope that makes sense. So the zigzag lines from this indicator, the OTZigZag indicator, have changed, but the OTSoftware, the pattern printing on top of this, the chart, hasn't changed because I've locked this, these patterns in. So the benefit of this is if you've got a pattern forming on the 1 hour chart and you wanted to analyze, if it was, for example, one of these with the PRZ, you wanted to analyze the candlestick formations on a lower time frame. Once it's exceeded that D point, you can lock the chart, leave a pattern printed on there, and you can analyze price on a lower time frame to look for your entry reasons or exit reasons or whatever it might be. So if I were to unlock the chart, then it will then print the new patterns on. Lock the chart down to the 15-minute, and again it's recalculated that zigzag line but left these patterns on here. So you can analyze price on a lower time frame with the patterns still printed on. Chart unlocked. Prints new patterns. Hope that makes sense, guys. So go back to the 1 hour. Chart unlocked. We'll leave it like that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So moving on from here, if there's any questions relating to that, anything I've missed out, do let me know. Give me an email, go on my website and go to the contact us box. It's at the bottom of every single page on my website. Just send me a message, let me know if there's any questions you need answering. So now moving on from the conventional patterns, we're going to move on to the custom patterns. So this is custom 1, custom 2 and custom 3 in the GUI here. So if we go to the indicators list, OTTrades software version 2.4, you've got all of the conventional patterns here. Obviously the only things you can change in the conventional patterns are the colors of the buy and sell patterns, take profit targets and the stop loss ratios. We scroll down to the bottom here, we've got custom 1, custom 2 and below that custom 3. Now the same rules apply for each 3 patterns, so I'm just going to run through it for custom 1 here. So you can obviously edit the true or false again to see it visible on the chart or not. The colors for this example, I'll just use green for buy and red for sell, just for ease. So starting with the B point then. So obviously in these patterns we've got X, A, B, C and D points. So the X to A leg is just an initial price swing up or down. It's not controlled by any Fibonacci ratios. The B point is the first point in the patterns to be controlled by Fibonacci ratios, and that's what this is saying here. So the B minimum ratio I've put as a 0.382 retracement of that X to A leg. Obviously there's no other leg involved in the pattern as of yet, so we've only got that X to A leg to go off of. So there's a minimum retracement of 0.382 of X to A and a maximum retracement of 0.618 of X to A for that B point. So it's got to fall between these 2 values. And you can change this to whatever you want. I've just put these in for now, so I can put that as 0.5, but just for this video I'm going to put it as 0.618. So the C point now, we've obviously got that X to A leg and the A to B leg now. So the C point can be based off of XA or A to B. XA is usually like a cipher pattern, so if the C point is higher than A, so you would want to put the extended ratios in. So for example, for the cipher, it's 1.272 minimum XA and 1.1414 maximum of the XA leg. But for this example, I'm going to use AB, and I'm going to put it as 0.382 of AB and a maximum of 1 or 100%, which also is the A point. So it cannot exceed A, and it's got to have a minimum of 0.382 retracement of AB. Hope that makes sense. Now finally the D point is the most complex one, because we've obviously got the X to A leg, A to B leg, the B to C leg, and also if the C point is extended past A, you might want to use that A to C point to act as the value that you go off of to determine the D point. So for this example, I'm just going to use the X to A leg for the reason purpose of this video, but you can mess around with this if you like. So I've just got it as the X to A. Like I say, you can choose between AB, BC or X to C if your C point is extended. I've got mine as a 786 of X to A, and that's the main point I use as the D point for most of my custom patterns that I've created myself. So I've gone through and back tested a load of different ratios, and this one I think works the most based on my back testing. And then take profit 1, 382, take profit 2 as 618, and the stop loss as, just for an example, 1414 here. You don't have to use these ratios. You don't even have to use these as take profits at all, or the stop loss at all. I didn't mention that in the advanced and harmonic conventional patterns. But you don't have to use these, it's just guideline, it's just prints it on the chart anyway. Like I say, you can use whatever you want. You could use a 1-to-1 risk reward, 1-to-2 risk reward. You can use other fib levels, which you could input in here. You could use ATR, whatever you wanted. You don't have to use these, you could just set this as 0 and it just won't show up. So that's the custom 1 advanced setting, so the custom pattern 1. Say you can go through all of this for each different pattern, so you've got 3 custom patterns there to choose from. So we'll just do that. We'll press OK on the chart here. I'll just make sure Backtester is turned off. OK, wait for it to load, close this. So we've now got our custom pattern 1 loaded onto the chart. As you can see, buy patterns are in green, sell patterns are in red. Green and red. So just for the purpose of this video, I'll go through and check that these ratios correlate to what we've inputted into the indicator settings. So stretch the fibs from X to A, and this B point forms between the 382 and the 618, which is what we had set in the indicator settings here. 382 and 618. Okay. Is that? Wait for it to load again. And then the A to B, our C point forms above that 382 and does not exceed A, or 100%, or 1 in the instance of the indicator settings. We set that as 1. And then the D point we had as 786 retracement of X to A, which it correlates to nicely, and also written next to the price of that D point here. So we've got the prices and the levels that it's set out. So the stop loss level is here, 1.414, and the price 1.12190. D point here, and 382 and 618 targets and their prices as well. They are set slightly offset from the actual point, so the point of these lines here, so slightly above those lines, to make sure you don't get mixed up with that. But yeah, that's the custom pattern 1. So we can turn that on and off, and we can have it alongside other patterns as well. So you can see the cipher pattern. You see what I meant about that extended C point now in the indicator settings. So here we can have the C point. We could have that as XA and extend that to make it like the cipher pattern, where it's a 1272 or a 1414 extension of that XA leg. 1272, so it just exceeds the 1272 and does not exceed 1414. So we can have that alongside the conventional ones, or we could have all 3 custom patterns all set at different ratios, whatever you would prefer. Now to move on to the final part of the software, and that is the Backtester. So back into the indicators list. We've gone through all of the conventional patterns from the bottom, so obviously drawing the backgrounds on, zigzag threshold we went through at the beginning, maximum bars we went through at the beginning, all of the harmonic patterns, all of the advanced patterns, all of the custom patterns. Panel drawing settings is just for the GUI at the top left of the screen here, so the higher the number the bigger it is. I recommend 1. If you want to go up in point, in decimal places. Don't go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to go up, say 1.5. That will change it quite a lot. That increase it by 50%, as you can see. It just overwhelms the chart really. Maybe if you didn't have any of these data windows up or anything like that, you might like it like that. But I prefer mine as one, nice and clear. CMB drawing settings. Now this relates to the Backtester. So if we go back up to the top, enable the Backtester, turn this to true. Down to the bottom, CMB drawing settings. This custom message box. So this is whether the pattern is a winner for the first target. So for target 1, 382, target 2, 618, and stop loss, whatever that's set at. So this message box will pop up and say, is your pattern a winner for target 1? Is your pattern a winner for target 2? Or is your pattern a loser? So hitting the stop loss. This is the size, like the panel drawing settings, this is the size of that message box that pops up. Again, I'll just leave it at 1. File name is what you want your Backtester to be saved at. So for this example, I'm on the Euro dollar 1 hour chart, so I'll just call it Euro USD 1 hour. Okay, that's all you need to do for the Backtester. Just make sure it's enabled at the top, so it's true. And we'll do it with the custom 1 pattern. Okay, wait for it to load, close that. Custom 1. Find our first pattern. Right, so all you need to do to use this Backtester now that it's enabled is click within the pattern outline. So that could be within the dotted lines, these sharp bold lines, again the dotted lines. Click anywhere within the pattern. So would you like to record the pattern as a winner of target 1, winner of target 2, or a loser? For this example, the C point has been exceeded, so I do not want to record this on my backtesting because the pattern has been invalidated. So to get rid of this message box, I'm just going to press escape on the keypad, and that clears that. That pattern's not been recorded on the backtester. So our first pattern that's actually been recorded here, we can click here, and it was a losing pattern. Hit our stop loss, so just press loser. Been recorded. Good. Click off of the screen, off of that message box there, and it will clear again. This one didn't reach the D point. Same with this one. Same with this one. Same with this one. Sorry if you can hear the boys in the background there, kids running around. And the D point was hit here. And again, wasn't a winner, it was a loser, so we can click within there. Loser, recorded, click out of there. C point was exceeded here, so it didn't hit. Loser here, record. You see how quickly this is, how time consuming it could be if you're manually inputting all of the prices and everything into the spreadsheet yourself, flicking back and forth between the chart and the spreadsheet. This is just 2 clicks and it's done. So this would have hit the D point here, and price reversed, spiked through the first target, through the second target, and therefore we can set this as winner 2. Recorded. Okay. This again didn't quite reach our target, so it would be a loser. This would be a winner because our stop loss are off the page down here. So this would have been a winner of both targets hit. Target 1 hit here, didn't come down to break even. Target 2 hit here, so winner 2. And because I've set the max bars at 5,000, that's as far back as it's gone. So just using those as an example then, Backtest is still running. So if we go into File, Open Data folder, this is where your results are going to be stored. MQL4, Files, EuroUSD. That is your Backtester file, saved as a CSV file. EuroUSD 1hour.csv. If I just go through and change this now so it looks a bit better, a bit tidier. Now this is not a backtesting spreadsheet. You can download that from my website again, free stuff, backtesting spreadsheet, and you can copy and paste everything from here into that spreadsheet straight away. This is just a form of save you massive amounts of time of inputting the date and time, the entry price, the stop loss, take profit, the risk reward, working all of that out, the results, the ratios as well. I'll show you the purpose of having these ratios in a minute. But this just saves you massive amounts of time doing this. So before I started live trading, I spent about 10 to 12 months backtesting, manually going through all the different patterns, all of the harmonic ones, all of the advanced ones, the conventional ones on different time frames, different sizes based on the zigzag threshold. Went through all of them, manually inputting all of this data from 1995 up to 2018, manually inputting them and filtering through which patterns work and which ones don't, and different ways to trade them with different targets, different stop loss levels. And I've also gone through some custom patterns as well now that I've developed this software, trying all of those out. And this backtest is obviously now saving me massive amounts of time. You can imagine, you know, we've only put a few trades in here, so 6 trades in. I think in total I've backtested over 20,000 trades. Most of that was done manually. Only recently used this for my backtesting, so yeah, you can imagine the amount of time it's taken me to do that. So I'm 23 years old. I've not been out. I've not had any sort of social life for a good year or two now. just been focusing my whole time doing this, and this has saved me massive amounts of time recently. So yes. So backtesting results. So we've obviously got the date and time here, the entry price of the pattern here, stop loss price of the patterns here, take profit 1, which is set at whatever you've set them at. So at the moment they're set at 382. Take profit 2 is set at that 618 level. Risk reward of the distance between the entry price and stop loss, and obviously the entry price and the profit 1 is risk reward 1. Risk reward 2 is the difference between the entry price and take profit 2 compared to the entry and stop. And then the results. So obviously we had loser, loser, loser. We then had a winner, won both targets, so 18 and 30, won both targets there. Another loser, so the losers are obviously the same because the stop loss is at set level for both, compared to both targets. And then a winner of 2 targets hit, and that's the pips to target 1 and pips to target 2. That's obviously pretty simple and straightforward to understand. Now we get to the ratios. So the purpose of this I've included is for these custom patterns. So for the custom patterns, obviously we can go through and change all of the ratios for the B point, C point, and D point. Now, if we were to set this B ratio from 382 to 1, so say 382 is the first or the lowest value real Fibonacci level. You could include the, I think it's 23.6%, so 0.236. I don't know anyone that uses that. I've never used it myself. So I would class the 382 as the lowest real Fibonacci level, and 1 is obviously 100%. So we're including the entire range of Fibonacci levels for that B point here. C point, A to B, again we're including that entire range of the Fibonacci levels here. And then if we were to just leave this D ratio here, 786, that's fine, and take profits don't really matter here. So if we just do that quickly, okay, so we've obviously got a lot more patterns forming here, and they're looking a bit weird because obviously the B ratio we've put at anywhere between 382 of x to a to 1, so it can't exceed x, and the same for the C ratio, anywhere between 382 and 1 of the A to B leg, and then D is at 786. So because that is 786 of x to A, and because B can exceed 786 of x to A anyway, B can now be lower than D. So we've got all of these patterns printed, and we can click on them and record them in our backtesting spreadsheet as winners or losers. Let's just go through loser, do some of these quickly. Loser, loser, recorded, loser. Winner here. Here. Winner of 2 here. Winner of 2 here. Loser here. Winner, no, yeah, winner of 1 here. Loser. Would eventually be a winner. It's the stop loss so high, so it would be a winner. 2, just a loser. Winner of 2, loser. Winner of 2, winner of 1, loser. Winner of 2, Now this here I haven't mentioned yet, so because this dotted line is from the X point of this small pattern in here to the D point of the small pattern in here, and underneath this is the B to D point of this larger pattern. So there's two patterns overlapped here, so if I were to click here, more than one pattern is selected, so the software doesn't know which pattern you want the backtester to relate to. So you need to make sure that the patterns are not overlapped. So the X point, A point, B point, C point, D point of this pattern, and then obviously the correlating X to D dotted line here overlaps this BCD triangle of this pattern. So this pattern can be recorded over here by itself as the D point is here. This pattern can be recorded over here by itself. So you just need to click on one individually. I hope that makes sense. So they're not overlapping each other anywhere. That would be a winner of 2. And there's a little one, winner of 2 as well. I can't remember if I recorded that, but it doesn't matter. Winner of 2, no, 1. Didn't quite hit it there. There's a winner of 1, winner of 2, winner of 2, winner of 2, and a loser. So we've obviously set the max bars at 5,000. For the back testing, I'd recommend just setting a maximum it'll go to, and doing the whole, all of your brokers' history. But for the purpose of this video, that's all we're going to do for now. So remember at the start of the video I said we've set these indicator settings from the minimum to maximum to get the entire range of fib levels for the B point and C point, and then D is just set at 786. So we can filter through that B and C point to find out which ones work best on the Euro-Dollar 1 hour chart. So we can filter through those files, Euro USD 1 hour. So like I said, we haven't got many trades here to filter through, but we can filter through which ones are a winner and which ones are losers. So so if we go on the B ratio here, we can go on to filter, and because we've got the B ratio all the way from 382, we've got 389 here, so all the way from 382 to 1, like here, we can start off by filtering them between 0.382, 382, and let's just say 0.5 for example. You could do it 0.3 to 0.4, 0.4 to 0.5, 0.5 to 0.6 every time. And then you would copy the results of this, copy into a new tab here, paste, and this is just going to be called 0.382 to 0.5. Back to this one, turn filter off, and we can do it again, filter, between, so we've done 0.3 to 0.5, 0.5 to 0.6, and take the results again, copy. Again, there's not enough trades here for accurate backtesting, so I wouldn't recommend doing it with this fewer trades. But this is just an example. 0.5 to 0.6. Do it again. To 0.7. We should be doing 0.6 to 0.699. We can take the results again, and you do this so on and so forth. You keep doing that for each one. Like I said, it's not very good without the large number of trades we've got here. But once you've done that, you you've got a range of Fibonacci levels for B, and then you do the same for C further along. And you can go through then, and in this box here, you can work out the average percent of the winners versus losers. So you can see here, 2 out of 3, so 66% of the trades. Obviously, that needs to be, you need to have a few tens of trades for each one. Excuse me. So a few tens of trades for each one. So this would be 66.6% of all of the trades between 382 and 0.5 are winners. And here it's the opposite way around, so only 33.3% are winners if the B point falls between 0.5 and 0.6. So we would want to avoid the 0.5 and 0.6, and we would only want to trade based on these two things here. Obviously you're going to do 0.6, 0.7, 0.7 to 0.8, You can even narrow it down to even smaller ranges if you've got that many trades to run through, and work out which is the most has the higher win rate. Based on that, obviously the risk reward is going to change, but you could alter it to change your stop loss levels, change your take profit levels. Obviously for the software as well, if you wanted it to record it as a winner or a loser, you don't have to go by the 382 and 618 levels. You could just completely ignore this and just have it as a reversal pattern, and you could have it at, say, a 1-to-1 risk reward for 1414, so 62.3. So you could just bring your little crosshair tool up here and go 623 down, and you would say a 1-to-1 risk reward, this pattern is a winner. So you just record it as a winner as 1. We get off here. And that's it doesn't matter about these pips levels at that point then, because you're working out which is a winner and which is a loser. So if you've got a 1-to-1 risk to reward and you've got more winners than losers, you know that at this range of ratios, that your pattern overall, a 1-to-1 risk reward with a higher win rate, is going to make money at the end of the day. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I've just done it briefly here because I don't want this video to drag on for much longer. But that is the purpose of the custom patterns, and trust me, when you go through several number of pairs, several different time frames, and you go back years and years and years and collect loads and loads of data on loads of different trades, and filter through them like this, the results are astonishing. Like I said, if you've got a 1-to-1 risk reward and you filter down these patterns enough, you can get 80% win rate with 1-to-1 risk reward, and that is pretty mind-blowing. I haven't seen anything like this out there before. Like I said, this software comes with the OTBacktester software comes with the OTSoftware if you buy the gold package on my website, and it's completely objective with that zigzag indicator and the zigzag threshold. You set those up, you're going to determine different size patterns. Obviously the smaller the patterns, the more you're going to have on the chart, but you're going to take into account more noise, and it's going to be more difficult to get in and out of those trades. If you are, for example, I'm a swing trader, not a day trader, so my trades last anywhere for a couple of days to weeks. So this is my method of trading, but each to their own. And ideally this software caters to all of your needs. So like I said, you can go on the different time frames and do this on the 1-minute chart if you're that way inclined. I wouldn't recommend that, but and even on the daily, if you wanted to be a longer term trader, you can do that on the daily chart as well. Excuse me. So that is a rundown of OTSoftware, how to get it, how to install it. We've ran through the purpose of the software. We've ran through all of the conventional patterns, your ability to turn them on and off, what the GUI is all about, unlocking and locking the chart so you can filter through the time frames and analyze the patterns on a lower time frame without removing the patterns. We've gone through the custom patterns and how to set those up, and we've also gone through the Backtester as well and the purpose of that, and I've even given you a free insight into my method of trading the custom patterns, which no one has ever seen before, and I hope it was valuable to you guys. Like I said, I personally don't think that there's anyone out there doing this, especially not in this much detail for free. I've been on paid courses before, and most of the stuff is just they use a lot of big words to try and confuse you quite a lot, and it's most of the stuff you can get on free online anyway. There's nothing like this I've seen out there at all. So again, I say I hope it has been valuable to you. Even if you don't use the software, you can try and go ahead and filter through manually all of those ratios, and I hope it works for you, because if you're willing to put that amount of time and effort into it, then yeah, you deserve it to work. Well, like I did in the beginning, which is why I've created this software to speed that process up and make my life a lot easier. But yeah, you're willing to give it a go. I mean, you can compare my software price-wise to others on the market. I think mine is more than reasonably priced. It's cheaper than any other software I've seen out there, which does this much. To be honest with you, yeah, I say I'm impartial and fair. You know, have a look around, shop around. Any questions? Like I said, go to my website. At the bottom of every page there's contact us. That goes directly to myself, Ollie Thompson at OTTrades. OT stands for Ollie Thompson. This is my website, my software. So yeah, any questions, go directly to me, ping them across as and when you wish. I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours. I'll say I hope this has been informative, and I hope this helped you out. Any feedback as well, again, leave me comments on my Twitter, TradingView, YouTube. Let me know anything. I'm welcome to constructive criticism. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.